Y'all ready? We're ready to do it. Open eye, y'all. What I thought. All right. Get it all in. Oh, yeah. All right. Share it on over here. All right. Get my theme song on. Yeah. Here we go, y'all. I know you know that theme song. Those of us that acknowledge or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or easily get things. We do so because the change of impression is minds are deep and difficult to believe. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm your host and third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs. Getting ready to open your eye and make sure you know what's going on. I got some things that some people gonna like. I got some things some people ain't gonna like. And you know me, I'll tell you straight out, I don't give a thing. I sure don't. That's what, because you didn't tune in for me to hear what you want to hear. You know, I mean, you were gonna hear what you want to hear, but you want to hear the truth. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear something that's just going to make you feel comfortable. I'm here to make you uncomfortable. That's what makes you think when you're uncomfortable. Like I said in my opening, I'm not here for ego giggling or mental masturbation. Welcome to the Open Eye. And as I always tell you, even though I know last week by 12:30 you was like, can't wait the next Saturday when the Open Eye comes on again. Yeah, I know it. But you don't have to wait until Saturday at 11 a.m. to tune in to WHGE 95.3 FM. We have a full schedule and a programming for you right here. Right? You know, like I always tell you, tune in for Ed Johnson Sports Zone at 4. The football season is winding down. The bets are getting heavy. And Ed's going to tell you how to get your money right. All right, because Ed knows everything there is to know. That's Ed Johnson Sports Zone, Saturdays at 4. If you missed what was going on politically and what have you during the week, you definitely want to tune in at 5 for Alan Lawrence with the Weekend Review. That's Saturdays at 5. And of course, as always, that's followed by The Daily Show, Black History Facts and Reflections with our illustrious leader, Harmon R. Carey. On Sundays, okay, I know some people that really need to tune into this, you know, because a lot of us go through it. If you ain't going through it yourself, somebody in your family might be going through it. Sundays at 7 with award-winning host Raheem Darden, Fixing Addiction. He will help you get it straight. Like I said, we got a full schedule of programming here at WHGE 95.3 FM. Oh, in case you didn't know, the Open Eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. The Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, changing veterans' lives and helping us get it together. The Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, the founders and builders of the Pearl Center, the veteran-specific apartment building right here in Wilmington, Delaware. I'd like to salute them for the strong, wonderful work they do. I'm with you, y'all. Wait a minute.
The views and opinions expressed on Open Eye are those of the host, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM or our sponsor, the Gulliver Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to align any religion, ethnic group, company, or...
Hey, good morning, Sherry.
Yes, we are Facebook Live today, and I want to thank my wonderful friend Sherry Bryson down in Georgia for joining us. If you are having trouble tuning in your radio, don't worry about it. Get on Facebook Live. I got you. I got you. Now, what's going on in our community? Dexter Kuntz Alfie Moss project coming up. The annual jazz. What is that? Oh, the annual jazz liturgy featuring the incomparable pianist Alex Bernard. I think it's like Alex Bernard. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. That's coming up December 14th, a couple of weeks from now, at 7 p.m. It's going to be at, it's going to be at, where is that? Oh, at the Central Baptist Church, 839 North Pine Street. 839. There will be free parking. That's what caught me. There will be free parking on 6th Street between Pine and Lombard, and there will be a shuttle available. Okay, you don't want to miss that. And special guest will be Carol Riddick. We are joined just recently by my partner in consciousness, my brother. What's up, brother? Nsoromma in the house. Nsoromma in the house.
Happy holidays, brother.
All right, thank you. I'm glad you said that, because that's something that I'm going to definitely be
talking about.
Yeah, definitely going to be talking about. Now, first of all, before I get to that, I got a story, and it'll fit right in. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do, especially sitting next to a brother that has been known for his compassion as far as dealing with people in the street. And that's my brother Nsoromma. Right. And he reminds me of another brother. I'm not going to mention this brother's name. It's a Muslim brother that I work with closely on several projects and what have you, dealing with violence and things that are going on in the street. Now, and the reason I mention this brother, and I know he don't want me to mention his name because he doesn't do it for fame, but I've been with this brother so many times and seeing people in the street ask him for something. Right. Okay. And without fail, this brother always treats people with compassion and generosity. It actually amazes me and has influenced me to a great extent, because he never passes judgment, whether the person is obviously, on the drug, addict, or, dealing with drug addiction, alcoholism, right, whatever, right. Whether they on the hustle, whatever, this brother always treats people every time with generosity and compassion. I salute that. And I've been on the street with friends and had them ask me, had someone ask me for something and I would give it to them. And why do you do that? Because I know what it's like to have nothing. I know what it's like to have nothing. I work in the clothes distribution closet.
You actually know what it's like to not have nothing but need someone else. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just, and you can't be afraid to go, listen, I'm busted up right now. I mean, I don't do that to everybody. You know what I'm saying? That could walk up to me, because it's a lot of criminals and it's a lot of shystiness going on. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a genuine need, I'll go out my way to help you if it's genuine.
I heard
you know what I'm saying?
I heard that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, okay, let's set the scene. Okay, you're a single parent with a child. Work full time for $14 an hour. You bring home roughly $800 per paycheck. Your bills, $1,000 rent, $150 electrical, $250 car payment, $150 car insurance. So let's do the math. You bring home about $1,600 a month, and your bills average about $1,550, give or take. You're making it, but barely. That doesn't even include groceries, internet, cable, cell phone, etc.
Personals.
Personals, right?
Right.
Nor does it include child tax credit or child support. Now, it's really cold, December, and you get a power bill for $600. How do you pay that? To put it simply, you don't, because you can't. Okay, so your power gets shut off. But you know what your lease says. It says you get evicted if your utilities are terminated. So now you're in court, crying to a judge who doesn't give a damn, and you have 10 days to get out. Well, you're in luck because you found somewhere within 3 days to spare, and it's only $650 a month. But to get in, you have to pass a background and credit check, which you can't because you just got evicted. You've never been a criminal, but even if you could pass it, you're looking at $1,300 to move in after paying the deposit and first month's rent. Time's up. The landlord shows up at 7 a.m. with the police and changes your locks. So now you're living in your car with your 7-year-old son and everything you need to get by. You tried to get a storage unit, but you don't have a billing address, so they won't sell one to you. So you can only take what would fit in your back seat. You pay to take a shower at local truck stops and eat whatever can be cooked in a gas station microwave. Someone sees you and your son living like this and calls CPS, Child Protective Services. Guess what happens next?
Child get taken.
Get bigger than dead. And if this isn't devastating enough, you lose your job too, because an employee losing their child reflects poorly on the company.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, so now you apply for an apartment within with the region, while the waiting list is 3 to 7 years. Then you go into Walmart to put in the application. When you get back to your car, you see that your back window has been smashed and someone helped themselves to your belongings. Damn.
Crazy. Bad day.
I'm telling you, remember, it's December and really cold, and now you have damage to your only shelter. You call your car insurance, who says your deductible is
$500,
$1,000. What? Yeah, and they're going to increase your monthly rate since you're now high risk.
What?
I'm telling you, man.
They all out to get you.
I'm telling you.
It's all about money, man.
Yep. You call the homeless shelter as a last resort, and guess what?
They crowd.
The beds are all full. I'm gonna stop here because I think you get the point.
Right.
The people we work with every day are these people. We are these people sometimes. We are all so close to homelessness and don't even realize it. All it takes is one unexpected bill, one fender bender, one layoff, one house fire. Instead of talking trash about people who are poor or homeless or need assistance, why don't you try being thankful that you're not in their shoes?
1 week off of work.
Yeah.
A lot of people can get thrown all the way back to back from 1 week off.
It's about staying humble, being thankful, and kind. You know? And,
right.
Yeah.
And spreading the love. We used to do that as a people.
Yeah.
And you know, they just came in and tainted the whole scene and you know, poured oil all on other people.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they just
threw
threw so much stuff all on into the canister that it's, you know, we had to really work on ourselves to make us a better community.
Yes, indeed.
And it starts from self, you know what I'm saying? That's what's that.
I got to ask you this, brother. You know, one of the things that I said in that piece was, be thankful. Did you celebrate Thanksgiving?
Actually, I ate, but Thanksgiving is not a celebrating day for me. Every day is a Thanksgiving for me, for the simple fact I ain't get hung or I wasn't, you know. I'm above ground. You know what I'm saying?
I heard that.
So I didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I did the eating family hangout thing.
Right, and see, that's just the thing. See, and this is what I say to a lot of woke people. A lot of us as Black people, especially those of us that know our history, we don't really celebrate holidays. We're not really. What we're celebrating is, one, a day off from work.
Right.
most importantly, you know, and the chance to get together with friends and family and, you know, enjoy their company and what have you. and enjoy breaking bread with them. You know, so those, you know, because I see so many so-called woke people that are hard on people for getting together on Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday it may be, that people get together with their family and what have you, and say, well, you know, you're not woke, you're a hypocrite, you're celebrating this. Well, people know what Thanksgiving is about, that, you know, the so-called pilgrims murdered the you know, the indigenous people that invited them to eat, this, that, and the other. You know,
did you put that flyer? Did you put that poster up there when the Indians or the indigenous people came and was bringing them? It was a chicken roast and corn and all that stuff, and then the pilgrims, they had diseases, war, famine. And
it wasn't me this time. It wasn't me this time.
Listen,
this time, bro.
It wasn't you.
Actually, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
I had to share that myself. I snatched that and shared that. No,
I think I did.
But that was the manip of the. You know, that's what they do. They call it a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're being hit with a Trojan horse,
mm-hmm.
that is, you ain't gonna see it coming. That's all that means.
That's what it means.
You know.
That's what it means. You know, and for those of us that, you know, may not know history, I advise you to read a book. But when Nsoromma talks about the Trojan horse, he's talking about the war of Troy, where the Trojans, you know, came with the big wooden horse and all the soldiers was inside. And they presented it as a gift. Come to turn out, it was a murder scene.
Right. They all came out when they all was drunk and sleep,
yep.
and jumped out and went to work and took over their whole establishment.
That's what they did.
And that's what they do. They hostile takeover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and we have to hostile take over ourselves back because we're stolen.
Yep, that's what we are, brother. That's what we are. This is the Open Eye.
WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah.
Right here. All right.
Did you make it to the party?
No, I had to work. Yeah.
Nice,
you know, salt and pepper. Yeah, something
Yo, nice, nice. It's coming in good. It look good. Yeah. Use the beard.
Yeah. No shade November.
Right. No shade November.
No shade November.
Right.
But I'm gonna let it roll.
Just let it go. I was thinking about the same thing.
In December.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Homeboy said, "Oh, well, I tell you, right? Nah, I didn't make it, but some people did. You know? Yeah, so
I ain't make it either. He said, "What happened, man? Mom came.
Had to kill everything."
Oh, what? I was at the fair. I was in a house." And yo, Facebook, tune in every Saturday, you know what I'm saying, 11 to 12. If you got anything that you want to say or talk about, tune in with us. Come hang out with us, you know what I'm saying? It's an hour for your day, you know what I mean? You home anyway, you on the phone anyway. Stop fretting, you know what I mean? Come join us, get some knowledge, get some energy, you know what I'm saying? Get uplifted, you feel what I'm saying? It's more than radio around here.
That's my man Bucci Bontai. Untold stories. We got a lot of untold stories.
Same.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. WHGE 95.3 FM. The Open Eye. Patrice Gibbs and
Nsoromma in the building.
Yeah, buddy. Yo, well, first thing I gotta get to is Yeezy. You know, this fool, check this out. I'm gonna show it to you right here so you can see it. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. This fool that put out the Book of Yeezus. What in the hell? What in the name of Jim Jones and Kool-Aid is going on?
Jim Jones and Kool-Aid?
Jim Jones and Kool-Aid.
Nah, but look, check this out. I've been thinking about this situation.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And it's not a bad idea.
No. Okay.
Only on me saying that for the simple fact that, you know, when you reach a certain plateau in your life, there's certain things that you want to accomplish. If you dream to be a millionaire and then you're a millionaire now you really have to dream something else. You have to think of something else because you have accomplished what you have dreamed. You feel what I'm saying? Now, inside knowing that, being as though he's a corporation and a business also. You know what I'm saying? They got King James Bible.
Yeah.
They got everybody else's Bible. You can make a Bible if you had the money to press it up and put all your thoughts and theories into this book and press it, and people that know you and friends that believe in you and people that follow you, or go get your book.
Okay.
So
I understand what you're saying.
As a business decision and for his family, yeah, because I mean,
yeah, but guess how much this thing costs?
What, the book probably costs $150.
No. Costs $1,183,
and that's only for his people. That's only for his friends. That's only for the industry, the music industry people to come support him. You feel what I'm saying? Now next year, it probably drop to $2, or they probably give it to you. Because I mean, that's just how it go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you like this, right? And I'm gonna say like this. I'm sure that a lot of religious people feel that Yeezy going to hell, and you know, a lot of y'all going with him.
I think a lot of people, a lot of religious people that wrote their books is going to hell too. So
I agree with you on that.
You know me, I'm hurt.
Hey, you know, here's the thing, all right? It just makes me think of the way Yeezy do things, and you know, the people that feed into it.
A publicity stunt,
and a nice hustle.
But that's what the world made out of, a publicity stunt. It's a system and a nice hustle. You're saying that about America. This is what America do to its people.
Big time.
I think he's a genius on a simple fact that he's getting the money.
And you know what? Anybody that could sell a plain white T-shirt, what was it, $60? Because it was made by Yeezy's, a plain white T-shirt. You can get a plain white T-shirt for $5, $10.
But you can't get it from me.
But
you can't get it from Pat.
Right. That's right.
I mean, we got to put value on ourselves, brother. I understand. We need to value ourselves. It's not about helping this Chinese or helping this white guy or helping this Spanish person or whatever like that. It's about helping ourselves and putting value on ourselves, man. I mean, that's where it starts. And supporting ourselves. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And if that don't happen, we're going to be a distinct race.
Yeah. You know,
it's just that simple.
You know,
it's going to be watered down.
Yeah, and that's where it's headed. You know, like you said, if we don't put value on ourselves, you know, and like I said, you know, look, pump your brain. You know, I want to be, you know, mad at Yeezy, but I can't because, all right, he pumped his brand and people bought into it and they paying me for it.
What's that saying you always told me? A fool born every how you say
a sucker born every minute.
I'm just saying that's where that lies at. You feel what I'm saying? So you can't.
That's why I can't
make everybody awake at one time.
No,
you know
I wish I could.
Right,
you know?
I wish I could too.
But, you know,
especially certain people.
Yeah,
I wish I could click to make certain people underwear too.
Yeah,
you know
I heard that. And then maybe they would leave some things alone.
Right. The world will be straight. You know what I mean? With clicks that I make.
I heard that, brother. I heard that. You know that a big reason why we do what we do, you know, I'm gonna go a little singular here on this Nsoromma. I just want people to understand how I got here. How I got this mindset. I was born and raised by a third generation Garveyite. My mother, Jane Gibbs, I honor you, set my foot on the path of knowledge. And I was raised a Pan-Africanist. Yeah, I'm gonna quote Renoka Rashidi here because it ties in perfectly with who I feel I am. Okay. I follow the teachings of such men and women as Marcus and Amy, Jacques Garvey, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, my namesake, Cenk Anka Diop, one of the first books my mother gave me to read, Kwame Ture, better known as Stokely Carmichael, of course Malcolm X, Stephen Biko, and one of my greatest influence besides my mother, John Henrik Clarke. Peter Taj, Bob Marley, the Prophet, and numerous others. Pan-Africanism means different things to different people.
Right.
For some, it implies the unification of Africa. But for me, it is more than that. Pan-Africanism is the global unity of African descendants of the world with Africa as the base. Call me a dreamer if you like. All great men and women are dreamers. So I dream and work for the global unity of all our people, with all our people within the diaspora and on the continent.
Okay.
It may take generations to achieve. I may not see it happen. This does not mean that we ignore the plight of Africans in America or any place else, but that is only one phase and not the totality of the struggle. I am Pan-Africanist.
So tell me this: if you are born in America, does that make you African?
Yes. And I'll use this analogy to say, if you bring, lions are indigenous to Africa, okay?
Right.
And there, of course, I'm going to qualify this too. Lions are indigenous to Africa. You put a lion, capture a lion, bring him to, the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah.
Bring him to the Bronx Zoo, bring a mate for him to the Bronx Zoo, and they had cubs and a couple of generations of cubs. Those are still African lions. Okay. Now,
only because of the bloodline.
Because of the bloodline.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, see, this is where I'm mad at America. I'm mad at America for what they doing to so-called black people. That's not a bloodline. Black is not a bloodline.
Okay.
African
is right.
African's not a bloodline. African is the name of a continent.
Okay.
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 So that's not a bloodline.
Okay.
So what
our tribe from Africa is the bloodline.
Right. So when
we don't know.
You do know. You paleo. It's the oldest indigenous people in the world, right?
No. The oldest indigenous people in the world are from Kemet. From Egypt. Egypt. And I qualify that.
So how many years that goes back? Is it 40,000?
No, it's more than that.
It's more than 40,000?
Yeah, because scientists have recently found a, what do you call it? What do you call it?
Right.
Where you smell iron. An iron factory, and that's not what you call it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. That dated back 100,000 years.
Oh, okay. So
okay, that's some serious. Now, what makes that so serious is because before you get to the process of smelting iron, you have to know all the science that comes before that.
Right.
You know how damn hot it got to be to smelt iron. The science that you have to develop in order to get it that hot.
Right.
So that that dates back. As a matter of fact, the crazy thing about Egypt, and this has happened to Robert Boulay and some of the European scholars, who have refuted what Egyptology is not a science. Egyptology is an information control apparatus. And those that have refuted that, because with the Egyptology purports is that Egypt is 20,000 years old. Okay, well, scientists, besides our own, and I hate to use it as a qualifier to say because white scientists said so,
but they the ones that really, I got you.
Yeah, they have said no, it's not 20,000 years old. It's a whole lot older than that, and they got kicked out of Egypt for that. Okay, so that's real crazy, man. That's real crazy, but it is what it is. Now, as far as those of us here, okay, I call us foundational, and I get this from Tariq Nasheed, the producer of the Hidden Color series. Okay, foundational Black Americans in that we are culturally have developed something here that is nowhere else.
And what's that?
That is our culture, the way we do things. And not only have we developed this culture, but that culture influences the world unlike anywhere else.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we are totally unique in that amongst Black people, in that our influence on America and on the world exceeds any other group of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can say that with confidence. You know, when I was in the Air Force, I was stationed in Turkey.
Right.
And a small town in Turkey called Izmit.
Izmit.
Yeah. Small town, smaller than Wilmington. Okay. And I went in one of the little taverns, one of the little bars there. And a Turkish guy gets up and goes over to the jukebox and plays a song. Guess what he plays?
It wasn't your stuff, was it?
No, it was Clifford Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bugging, yeah. My homeboy, yeah. And we all the way 4,000 miles away in Turkey, and they knew who Clifford Brown was.
Oh, that's something. Blessing.
Blessing, bro. That's word.
So that's how we spread that. You never know where we are. Or what, I mean, it's
we are unique in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we are unique in the world. That's where it's. That's the kind of discussion you get here on the Open Eye.
WHGE 95.3 FM. You dig? Yaga.
Damn song. Oh, there it is.
Boom. Yeah. So you said Kemet.
Egypt.
Egypt is Kemet.
Egypt is Kemet. They cannot find the primitive state of Egypt. They cannot find the primitive state of Egypt because Egypt had no primitive state. Because the people that started Egypt came from Nubia, and when they started Egypt, Egypt was in the full bloom of its technological adulthood.
Okay. Already. So what was I getting ready to say? What was the name of Africa before it was named Africa?
Well, the whole the continent wasn't called Africa until modern time. Okay, but it was called Ethiopia. It was called Nubia. It was called Akubalan. But the name Africa, okay, dates back to Kemet.
Oh, it dates back to the Kemet time.
To the Kemet time. Okay. Africa means, okay, in Egyptian language, in Egyptian hieroglyphics, means house.
So how did the Scipio Africanus and name Africa?
Okay, I will
but
tell you.
Africa's house. I'm not.
Yeah, Africa's house. Ra is God. Ka is spirit.
Okay.
House of God's spirit. That's what Africa means. Okay. Scipio Africanus took the name because he conquered a part of Africa, which was Carthage. Okay, just like.
Oh, so no, that wasn't his name.
No,
he took on the name of Africa after conquering Africa.
After conquering a part of Africa, just like Julius Caesar took on the name Julius Germanicus. Okay. Because he conquered Germany. Okay. Okay, so that's how they infiltrated. That's how they infiltrated. Okay. That's how they infiltrated. That's it.
Yaga, back in effect.
Back in effect, right here. Oh, okay, we're gonna deal with some of this foolishness. All right, because I got into a discussion with a cat about some foolishness. Okay. All right, check this out. Okay, this white supremacist literally gave up his life for that nonsense. Okay, Mississippi KK member died in a fire after he refused to be rescued by black firefighters. Lunch. Leave his ass there. Yeah. 73-year-old.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about the life being taken or whatever, but hey.
You know, he told him straight out that he would rather die in the fire than be rescued by
you do have the right to refuse service from anybody or deny service to anybody. So it would have been wrong if the firefighter said, oh, I'm black, I ain't saving your white, so
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
right.
then it would have been some criminal charges.
That's right.
You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To that same situation.
Yeah, they tried to get him out of there, but he held on. And
But
held on.
if this is my thing right here. If America looks at, you know, Arabic people as bombers and, you know, all, terrorists and all this other stuff, why they don't look at KKK as terrorists?
Yeah,
I think they just started though. I think they just started.
Yeah,
They just started. They just passed the law that KKKs are terrorists.
Yes.
Now, we have the right to respond to that. If a KKK come up to you and talk to that, yo, you can give them the business legally.
I plan to. That's word, because you're under threat of terrorism.
Of course. Now, when they all get together and do the marches, I think the cops should be out there to arrest them all.
I heard
it's
that.
just that simple.
Yeah, because you wouldn't allow a group of Muslim terrorists to get together and
they
hold
ain't even
a march.
terrorists.
And,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
These guys are terrorists for real. They burn your house. They'll hang you. They'll kill you. They'll eat you.
And they'll come shoot up the mall.
Right.
School, you know. That's right. Now, you know, like I said, I got into some foolishness. I usually don't, argue with people. You know,
you shoot them.
I'm like this. I'll argue with people that had to tell me with a shot.
Right.
That reverse racism thing. Okay, let me give you some quick and dirty facts on reverse racism. First of all, reverse racism does not exist. Right. That's one. Two, reverse racism is not real. Right. Reverse racism is not a thing. Things like BET, Black Girls Rock, or Black History Month are not reverse racist, against white people. Because remember, in this society where white is seen as the default race, all history is white history. But racism isn't just some feeling, superior to another race and then discriminating against them. That's just the tip of a real messed up iceberg. Racism works on both an individual and societal level. Black people have few opportunities to express prejudice against whites and actually affect their lives because we don't have the institutional power to back us up. True. So, when you see something like a TV show like Blackish premiere, or you as a white person want to know why you can't say the N-word too, that is not reverse racism. Stop it. Stop it. It's not the reverse racism. I actually think that word should be actually banned against the law to say, simply because of what it has done to people and the history of the word. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you ain't gonna hear them saying nothing about Jews in no type of way, because they run their radio stations, they run the TV stations, they run things. So you're not going to hear anything that's disrespectful to their race. You know what I'm saying? Because there are consequences. Right, because there are consequences. They'll shut your show down, or they won't give you your check, or they'll put you in the back on working with the trash now instead of being up front where you were. I mean, there's certain things that they do, and when they have that control, like the United States have over a lot of things and a lot of people, but mainly us, they do whatever they want or try to do whatever they want. So we have to stand up against that. There has to be consequences. Right. But I like the way my man said he say, the NAACP, and I know I'm critical of them, but I'm not gonna be today, but the NAACP had a funeral for the N-word. I don't know if you remember that a few years back, where they had a casket with the N-word in it. They carried the casket and they buried the N-word. They buried the N-word. And see, here's the thing, right? They should have did that in the law. They should have went to the law books and buried it in the law, so it'd be a real thing, not just a symbolic thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do to us, though. They do symbolic things to us, thinking and we thinking it's going to be written in stone, and it's just that day or that 25 minutes. And that's all. And that's all. And see, here's the thing. America, first of all, let me say this. For those outside of America, don't get it mixed. America is basically an oil company with an army. Okay, that's outside America. But America, okay, is an N-word, N-person making machine. because of the social construct that is prevalent in America. And until you remove the social construct that makes the N-word relevant, the N-word will be. Once we as a people, because they're not going to do it, once we as a people make the social construct that makes the N-word a reality, until we get rid of that, okay, it's going to be there, you know, because the system what the system fears is black. What the system fears is our intelligence, our empowerment. They really fear that. Our progression, our self-esteem, our economic independence, our masculinity. That's why they came up with this black toxic masculinity, you know, and our love for each other. The worst thing they want to see is us building families, us treating each other with love and respect. That's, you know, the worst thing they want to see. The last thing they want to see, you know. And when we keep doing these things and pushing for these things, now I know a lot of us, yesterday was quote unquote Black Friday. We deal with reality, okay? And there's the mythology that Black Friday, the origins of Black Friday comes from after Thanksgiving, you know, enslaved blacks were sold cheaply, you know.
The next day.
The next day.
Right, and that's now, if we living in a society that is constructed on that, that Black Friday, that first sale was held on Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? So that was the first product to really go through the Wall Street stream. A human.
Right. Right.
And now, now they mad at people for human trafficking and all this other stuff that they're doing outside of the government because they ain't getting no money. It's illegal. Yeah. But when you turn it into them getting taxes out of it, whatever you're doing that's so-called illegal, if you turn it around and pay taxes on your illegal money, it's not illegal no more. Because they going, okay, as long as I get my piece, I don't care. Now, what kind of hustler is that? That's the #1 done data.
Man, I'm telling you, you know, and I tell you, this is the mindset that you get a person like the guy that died in fire. Right. And you know where this guy died at? Can you imagine where this took place at? No, where it took place. Man, let me tell you something. It's gonna cut. Oh, God.
Mississippi, homie. It happened in Mississippi. It happened in Mississippi, homie.
It happened in Mississippi.
Oh, Lord. Burn, Mississippi. Burn. What is it?
Mississippi, goddamn.
No, we check these safe. He burn Mississippi. I forget what it is.
Oh, you mean the movie?
No, check these songs that come on. Chuck D used to come out. And burn. Anything we can say I thought it was Mississippi, but
I got some Chuck D on there because that's my late mother's favorite group.
What? That PE is the truth, dog.
You think and I always tripped on that you know that was my mother's favorite group was
because they was for our people. Yeah. And people didn't really. That's why they got rid of them like that.
Oh yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. That's why they didn't let them really go into the motherfucking Beatles stage of being so big like that, man. They would have had America, blacks in America on the go.
To shut them down.
Yeah.
Let me get my play my hand first.
I think every day is gonna be my last. The Delaware Center for Homeless Veterans, also known as DC
sponsor spot. You don't do something.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put it on.
Housing and supportive services. DCHV's housing goal is to provide
I was looking for it actually.
DCHV's supportive services goal is to reintegrate, educate, and support
New York is this has to be built in New York or something.
But I'll tell you, man, we still on Facebook Live. yeah, we still on Facebook Live. We mess around and tell some personal shit on here. Yeah, we can say shit on Facebook Live. Yeah, I can put the put the screen back up there.
Yo, remind us that we on Facebook Live. Yo,
yeah, that's word. I got tuned in.
We've been doing the dirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, WHGE 95.3. You know, when we was, when the song was playing,
right.
We got a little discussion here about my mother's favorite rap group.
And actually, it's my favorite group too.
I heard that. That's one of my favorite groups, brother. I will tell you, without a doubt, is Implosion.
Oh, right,
y'all didn't know, Implosion is, yes, indeed.
That's a good look at
it. Yeah, I gotta mention that. Implosion is my man Nsoromma and his partner in music, Smooth.
You know what I'm saying? Delegate
Records. Big ups. That's word. But yeah, my mom's favorite group. And there's something when she first heard Black Steel and the Area Chaos. They got a letter from the government.
Yeah.
Yo, run that back.
You gotta play that again. Because it was they were so now then. And they were so now so irrelevant with all the conversations and all their writing.
So relevant.
Right. That it'll never die because they could see the structure of the government. You see what I'm saying? And they were well aware of what was going on, and they try to drop it in our music as a awakening letter to our people.
Right. I heard that.
And now the music game is so tainted and so not the informational source that we used to have, because we didn't really have radio and people talking for us over the radio. You know what I'm saying? We had to do it underground, like
I said, radio suckers never played it.
Right. It's and they still do that to this day. If you say the wrong thing, you get kicked off the show, like Gabrielle Union.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How you get kicked off America Got Talent? And
for speaking against racism, for speaking something right.
But you get Chris Rock that stand on stage and cuss Oprah out, talk about do this, and you didn't see that chat?
No, I haven't
seen that. You gotta see that.
I'll have to see that.
He got on stage in front of like 80,000 people and started talking about Oprah Winfrey.
Started talking greasy about.
I'm talking about to the porno greasy.
Oh Lord.
You know what I'm saying?
I am big. You see, here's the thing. I'm not a big Oprah fan, but I'm not gonna throw her under the bus in front of a bunch of white people.
But it wasn't even. It was racist. Period.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you can not like somebody, but then you can not like somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard that.
It's that little emphasis is a big difference. You know what I mean?
I heard that. But I want to go back to what we were saying about the music.
Right.
Well, what's the brother's name? Intelligent.
Wise Intelligent.
Wise Intelligent.
Yeah. Pure righteous teacher.
Pure righteous teacher.
See, they didn't want none of that.
Right.
If our kids just listen. If PE, poor righteous teacher, KRS-One, and all the knowledgeable informational sources that was within our music, them groups were still around today in full force. It'll be a different mindset in the black individual.
I heard that, brother. I heard that because and you know what? It was something that the brother said that really speaks to what you say, and that was this: when 1989? Okay, the number one rap song, number one song in the country was "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy.
Right.
Okay, and when Rodney King got beat, that mindset was there, and what happened? Riot turned out.
Right.
Now by 1997, 1998, the number one song was, I can't even remember. It was so insignificant, but it had nothing to do with black empowerment and revolutionary thought. Okay. Right. Amadou Diallo got shot, and the reaction was nothing. Okay, because in 1989, the feeling in the black community, amongst especially young black people, was a feeling of self-esteem, was a feeling of we're going to defend our own.
Right, and we're taking care of our own.
Yeah, we're taking
we
care of our
don't
own.
need you for
That's right.
anything.
You
And
know?
that's the way you got to be. You, as an individual, you can't need the government for nothing,
Right.
because they'll come back and want what they gave you,
Mm-hmm.
or want what they extended to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not given; it's a loan.
That,
Whether they want your liver that you got,
mm-hmm.
I mean, here, take this needle and put this in you,
Mm-hmm.
and see what this work on you.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a scam every time.
And you know what? Now there's something, and I did some research on it, and that's why I'm gonna bring it up. Okay, there's something that you had posted on Facebook and we had talked about before, and that's your birth certificate. The government borrows against you, and this has been going on since 1863 or 64.
Yeah, when did they steal you from your parents?
Yeah, you know, where you are collateral for the money that the United States government borrowed.
Exactly. Now, when they say, "Oh, you got a nice baby," and you go, "Oh, my baby was born this day, it weighed this much," and all that. Now, that weight that you say, that weight is literally true. It's the weight. Your weight is the weight of gold that you receive when you're born. Period.
I heard that.
And the government takes that weight of gold and holds it for 18 to wherever you start to come back and claim your sovereign to get you as a person, because you're signed away as a business to the government. I mean, that is serious.
You know,
now, who could think of that? Who?
You got to be some
You have
nefarious, evil, sit down and figure some dirty stuff to come up with the idea to do that.
And then run it as a country.
And run it as a country, right?
Because
it's not a country, it's a corporation.
Exactly.
Like I said, it's an oil company with an army. Don't get
incredible.
that thing mixed. Don't get that thing mixed. And then you wonder why, you know, we are dealing with what we're dealing with. You got to remember what we're, look, what's the sister's name? Dr. DeGrasse. She's the one that, you know, I checked her out on this. And that's post-traumatic slave disorder. Now, having been enslaved for 250 years, we as a people were not left to our own devices when that chattel slavery ended. No, our people were terrorized after that. In the deep South, a second slavery ruled. In the North, that second slavery being convict leasing and what do you call that? Where they put you on the farm, sharecropping.
Oh, okay.
Sharecropping, yeah. Now in the North, with the legislature and what have you, okay, and the banks and all, they all colluded to pin black people into ghettos where they were overcrowded, overcharged, and undereducated. Right. Businesses discriminated against us, awarding them the worst jobs and the worst wages. Police brutalized and are still brutalizing our people in the street. And the notion that black lives, black bodies, and black wealth were rightful targets remains deeply rooted in the broader society. Now, we have half-stepped away from our long centuries of despoilment and promising never again. Right. But we're still haunted. And it's as though we have run up a credit card bill and having pledged to charge no more, remain befuddled that the balance ain't been paid, and it ain't. The effects of that balance, interest accruing, are all around us. Okay, understand that. Understand that. But see, we're resilient people, right? And no matter what we come up against, it's like Maya Angelou, we rise.
Oh, most definitely. For the simple fact that, you know, we are the people.
Yeah.
We are the people, period. Every other person is really made from us.
Yeah, that's right.
In existence.
And you know, you count the times and the triumph in the face of adversity.
My boy was telling me, big ups to GRB, and yo, my boy was telling me, right, we were sitting there talking, because we always have kind of discussions about, you know, all kind of stuff. And one of the things that we was talking about, it was, you know, how the pyramids got built and all these things that they see that, you know, like so amazing buildings and side work, artwork on the side of the buildings and stuff like that. He was like, it had to be aliens helping us, right? So I was like, no, they wasn't helping us. We are them aliens. You understand? We just transgression into what we are now. You see what I'm saying? Throughout the years, I don't think it was like somebody that came from the sky and helped us. I think we already had all of them abilities, and we were them aliens that were doing it.
You know, and that brings me back to what I said off the air. They cannot find the primitive state of Egypt because Egypt came into being in the full bloom of its adult in its technological adulthood.
Already when they supposedly got there.
When they got there. Yeah. That's where you know. I tell you what. Listen, I know we come around to the close of the program, you know, but this is the Open Eye.
And I want to thank all of y'all for supporting. Keep supporting WHGE 95.3.
You know, this kind of talking.
A free black and green liberation jumpsuit. We need everyone to tune in next Saturday because we're going to be having a special show. And we want everybody to tune in. 95.3 FM, Open Eye Radio.
The revolution will not be televised. It will be live on the Open Eye.
Yaga!
Hey! Right here on the Open Eye. Revolution Reality, my rant. You have thrown off the shackles. You have debunked the myth. You have opened your eye. You are awoke. Now what? Many of our people are not ready for the responsibility of revolution and nationhood. There will be casualties. Some of us are not going to make it. You know what? I'm okay with that. Some of us don't need to. It was not easy to put you in shackles. What makes you think it's going to be easy to remove them? Every night I petition the ancestors for guidance, and every morning the ancestors charge me to sound the alarm. I know we had the plan because the ancestor gave it to me and I wrote it down. We had the personnel, the funds, the plan. Now all we need is the goddamn nerve. Never forget, as Marcus Garvey teaches us, intelligence rules the world and ignorance carries the burden. Therefore, remove yourself as far as possible from ignorance and seek as far as possible to be intelligent. Read a book. It's not illegal yet.
Yeah.
I heard that. And as I always say, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma in the building.
This is the Open Eye
Radio Show, WHGE 95.3 FM.
NsorommaMusic.com.
Good job, boy. And you doing it dirt. I'm telling you. I've been going live now. I kept the little clips that I've been doing. I've been throwing them live on the book so they can see them like when they go in their story, they just run across their story already. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, thank you for joining us, especially you, Cherry. I will be calling you soon. Much love to you, sister. All right. Hope you enjoyed the show. Open.